I thank Mr. Swan for his briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. Francisco Caetano Jose Madeira. Mr. Madeira, you have the floor.
Mr. President, Excellencies, thank you very much for this opportunity to brief the Security Council on Somalia. I'm particularly pleased to do so again with my colleague, Ambassador James Swan. Our partnership is proof of the strong cooperation that exists between the African Union and the United Nations, which remains vital to our collective support to Somalia. Let me begin by recognizing that there have been significant developments in Somalia since I last briefed this Council in May. These developments are, in large part, due to the determination of Somalia's leaders to get together and consult on bold steps required to strengthen the country's capacity to fight Al-Shabaab and other armed opposition groups, build the state of Somalia and strengthen its institutions, and stabilize the country through the provision of essential goods and services to the people. Mr. President, the emerging resumption of dialogue and collaboration between the leaders of the federal government and those of the federal member states is the most salient political development that has happened in the period under consideration. If harnessed and facilitated, this development can unlock the great potential of the Somali people to put in the second plan what divides them and build on the factors that bring them together and strengthen the unity and solidarity of their people. I commend the personal efforts of President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo and that of the presidents of the federal member states who, through emissaries, direct and indirect contacts, consultations, exchanges, and mutual reassurances, have laid the groundwork that made a reality this crucial development, the Dusamareb process. In Dusamareb, Mr. President, we've seen President Farmajo meeting bilaterally with President Madobe of Jubaland and discussing their issues. We witnessed President Farmajo exchanging views one-on-one with President Deni of Puntland, with President Ware of Irshabelle, and with President Laftagreen of Southwest State. We've seen President Korkor preparing the ground and welcoming President Farmajo and all the other presidents to the big meeting. These meetings are important, Mr. President, and they are necessary too. And they should cease to be historical developments. They must be made to repeat themselves with such a frequency that they become normal events, regular encounters of leaders united in a common purpose of making their country a better place for all their people. We regret that for the meeting that started on the 15th of this month, two of these leaders are not there. We, international partners and friends of Somalia, have an important role to play to make this necessary presence and transformation a reality. The Dusamareb process deserves our unwavering support, as it represents a clear signal of the intent of Somali leaders to work towards a political consensus. This was the missing link, and now it seems to be close, and we should not miss this opportunity, Mr. President. The African Union, through AMISOM, is there in Dusamareb, supporting the Somali security forces in ensuring security for this ground encounter. while the parties will require more commitment and trust to ensure the Dusamarebe talks are a success, the African Union will continue to not only secure the process, but also offer its political support where and when needed. Mr. President, the African Union welcomes the developing dialogue between President Farmajo and the Somaliland leader, Mr. Musa Bihi. The latest round of talks held in June, brokered by President Ismail Omar Guelleh of Djibouti, stands as the second this year. More importantly, this is evidence of Somalia's commitment to dialogue as a means of resolving its national differences. We are equally aware that talks Joint Technical Committee is yet to meet again, and we underscore the importance of these talks continuing. Mr. President, the resumption of dialogue between the federal government and the federal member states has the real potential to act as a catalyst for achieving critical national priorities. I'm encouraged so far that the resumption of dialogue has already allowed for Somali stakeholders at all levels to engage in frank and inclusive discussions in search of a consensual approach to the issue of elections and its modalities. We, partners of Somalia, must strive to ensure that the discussions remain all-inclusive, because it is this inclusivity that lends legitimacy and will determine the consistency and implementability of the consensus that may be reached in the Dusamareb process. Following the National Independent Electoral Commission report to Parliament on 27 June, AMISOM, at the request of the National Independent Electoral Commission chairperson, has enhanced its discussions on election security, the securing of the NIEC's new premises, and the African Union Commission's technical support to NIEC prior to and during the elections. I am also pleased to report that AMISOM's police component, that will play a critical role in election security, is regularly engaging their Somali counterparts on areas of support. In this context, AMISOM police are currently training Somali police on the use of mapping tools for election security threat assessment. Despite this support, it remains essential as part of election preparation that the important work of the National Electoral Security Task Force resumes as soon as practically possible. Mr. President, I remain concerned at the threat of Al-Shabaab across Somalia, which is demonstrated by the extremist group's sustained attacks against government officials, businesses, civilians, security forces, and international personnel. The fight against Al-Shabaab will continue to require concerted effort. At the center of these efforts must be the enhanced collaboration, coordination, coherence, improved information sharing, and complementarity between the federal government and the federal member states, particularly on Somalia, as Somalia prepares to hold elections. More must be done to degrade Al-Shabaab's operational capacities. It is our assessment that as Somalia's national dialogue continues to edge towards political consensus, Al-Shabaab will seek to derail these efforts. Already, Al-Shabaab, in its public statements, has unsuccessfully attempted to undermine the Dusamareba process and foment national discord. In line with AMISOM's tasks as stipulated in the African Union Peace and Security Council Communique 923 and Security Council Resolution 2520, I can report that despite the ongoing impact of COVID-19, AMISOM has continued to implement the transition plan. Since May, AMISOM, jointly with our partners in the Somali Security Forces, continued to conduct several targeted operations to disrupt, degrade, and deny Al-Shabaab freedom of movement and action. In addition to these operations, we have jointly secured and maintained key supply routes. As part of our transition tasks, we have also mentored various Somali Security Forces battalions through our ongoing collocation, particularly in Lower Shabelle. In Lower Shabelle, Mr. President, as this council is aware, recovered areas remain secure thanks to the continued joint operations and the bravery of our Somali Security Forces and AMISOM soldiers. The African Union, through AMISOM, has been the foundation of progress and security in Somalia since 2007. But with this, we have thankfully witnessed the capabilities of the Somali security institutions gradually increase. This increase must continue in earnest so that Somalia is eventually able to take the lead on its security responsibilities by 2021. To this effect, it is with satisfaction that we note that the work towards the revision of the transition plan is ongoing, and the government has set a clear vision of what the revision should entail, the strategic priorities it should pursue, the actions that need to be done, to be implemented to make each strategic priority a reality, and the specific tasks that need to be fulfilled and by whom. Clearly, on improved and enhanced coordination and coherence, information sharing and accountability, transparency and complementarity will be necessary for the adopted revised transition plan to be fully and timely implemented. We are happy that this revision is taking place in tandem with efforts to revitalize the CAR's comprehensive approach to security mechanisms, which will be more aligned to the revised transition plan activities. A very positive feature in the current revision is that the elements of all-inclusiveness have been enhanced and the federal member states have been fully included and involved from the outset in the preparation of this new revised transition plan. They are participating directly and actively, and their views are being noted and reflected in the baseline documents that are being produced. Their seats are assured and reserved in the 3 technical committees tasked to produce the draft revised transition plan. This is of extreme importance, as no realistically sustainable peace operations in Somalia can succeed without the involvement of the concerned regions. As we begin to review the transition plan under the leadership of the federal government, it remains critical that a reviewed plan must focus on practical elements. These must include consensus on priority locations for transition and agreement on the realignment of tasks, particularly for international partners, as called for in the African Union Peace and Security Council Communique 923. Agreements on these elements will, in part, inform our collective assessment on what comprehensive support Somalia will require from key international partners in the lead to 2021 and post-2021, as called for in both the AU Peace and Security Council Communique 9223 and the Security Council Resolution 2520 of 2020. In terms of operations, Mr. President, one of the pressing issues that needs to be tackled head-on and addressed as a matter of urgency is the lack of commensurate Somali security forces to take over and hold areas under AMISOM control and those projected for liberation from Al-Shabaab. This is making it difficult for AMISOM forces in various sectors to reconfigure and create mobile forces for targeted offensive operations against Al-Shabaab, as they are forced by circumstances to keep holding and protecting the populations in the towns and habitational centers they have liberated from Al-Shabaab. Therefore, realistic and feasible approaches need to be identified, Mr. President, to effectively address the issue of the slow pace of generation of Somali National Army forces. As I conclude, I would like to draw the Council's attention to the African Union Peace and Security Council Communique 923, being broadly in line with paragraph 38 of Resolution 2520 of the UN Security Council on the need for comprehensive independent assessment in the spirit of the AU-UN shared visions for Somalia. The African Union continues to call for a joint AU-UN effort in delivering on this important assessment. I thank you, Mr. President.